the Warriors had interest in trading LeBron.
We gotta stop, guys. Come on, man.
Yo, peace. Welcome back to 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. I'm Carmelo Anthony here with my co-host.
It's your boy, the Kid Mary, the Human Do-Rag Flat Man. This is a Wave Sports and Entertainment original. It's presented by FanDuel. Welcome to the season finale. You know what I'm saying? Season 1 of 7 p.m. in Brooklyn is officially in the books with this one, and we couldn't have ended it any better. You know what I'm saying? Today we have in the building, representing the east side of Cleveland, shouts to 125, you know what I'm saying? Author of the New York Times bestselling memoir, Lucky Me, you know what I mean? CEO and founder, don't forget that, he started the shit, of Klutch Sports Group, UTA partner and board member, and he's mean with some dice in his hand, so watch out, you know what I mean? The waves are spinning, the sun is shining, we outside. Rich Paul is in the building with us today.
Did you say you was a human do-rag?
Yes, sir. Because I keep it wavy, Rich. I keep it wavy. When I'm in the building, this shit is wavy. You heard?
Yo, y'all gotta stop. Enough is enough. I get the sponsors and all that.
Ain't no sponsor with human do-rag.
Nah, baby.
Ain't no sponsor.
I know. I don't know if he was going for one.
Nah, listen, hey.
I thought you had enough.
Holla.
Nah, it's good. Don't forget my jump shot with but we don't talk about
the jump shot.
Don't worry about that.
No, that's a story because we gonna jump into that.
Yeah,
but no, let's go back a little bit though, Rich. Like me and you personally.
Yeah.
Like our first time linking up. Because it's I got this question on here because I want to know if it's the same story.
That I remember?
Yes.
Oh,
I want to make sure.
I know exactly when our first time linking up, we was at the Bacara in Santa Barbara.
MJ camp.
For MJ camp.
Okay.
And, you know, back then we just hit it off.
Yeah.
Like you could just tell, like, this could be somebody from my neighborhood. I could have been from your neighborhood. Energy. And that was I was just telling somebody about that time because I was the only non-All-American. Like it was Melo, it was Bron, it was Chris Thomas, it was Ricky Paulding, it was TJ Ford. I think Kurt Heinrich was there.
Yeah.
Respect God.
It was a squad, right? Luau Ding, I think, was there. And we all meet, but I'm working the camp. But I'm not any of these guys. But no one else knows that, you know? So I really carried myself as if I was an all-star. And the crazy thing about this, Jawad Williams is from my neighborhood, went to North Carolina and was a McDonald's All-American. Mm-hmm. And then Chris Thomas, because I had all the jerseys and things back then. I forgot what happened, but somehow I got Chris Thomas's McDonald's game shorts. And Jawad, I had traded Jawad something, and he gave me his McDonald's like shooting shirt. Mm-hmm. So as we walking through the streets, and by the way, I didn't realize we in Santa Barbara, beautiful place.
Incredible.
I don't even think we knew how beautiful this place was. We sat into Bacara, just me, Brian, Melo, and I'm walking around as if I'm an All-American. It felt great. I'm like, me and Chris Thomas in the backcourt together, we having conversations. And I'm like, yeah, we're in the backcourt together, me and my man. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. But that's when me and Melo first met. And then from there, it
took off. It's the same. It's the same story.
Yeah.
It's the same story.
It was just
to your point, we didn't know what the fuck.
Nah, man. We woke up to the ocean.
The suite was in the middle of the water. Like
it was.
It was crazy over there.
We had massages set up with the fruit and you had back then you had the DVD.
What a massage, bro.
Yeah, you had the DVD player in your room, and we had been moving around, but that it's the Bacara.
That's different.
If you go there today, it's still.
Yeah.
It was we actually had no business there. We just got there early, so it was where MJ and them was staying at because we set up that night. We played spades, and and it was where they were staying at. And so then they took us to where we was really staying at, which was the dorm. And we like, yeah, we going.
Nah, you can't take us back to the
don't take us back to
Don't show me this.
I took all my clothes out. I folded my clothes up in the drawers. I think we living.
I'm packed fully.
And not to mention, I'm It's so crazy because do you remember who was on your team?
He bringing me back.
Remember who was on your team? On my team, I had Lil Romeo was on my team that I coached. And I think Marcus might have been on my team. Marcus Jordan might have been on my team. But it was a lot of fun though. It was a lot of fun. We was counselors, so I was like one of the counselors. It was pretty cool. That was a fun trip. Yeah.
No, that's right. That's right. I ain't hear that story in so long. It's like
I got a memory like an elephant sometimes.
Yeah, I had to tap into that. That was a different mindset.
So it was like y'all met and it was automatically like, yo, like this is a dude from the block. Like,
yeah, just you like at that point in time, like I was heavy, like streets of Baltimore. Like not like hustling, but I was like heavy streets of Baltimore. So you know that energy when you meet somebody else from somewhere else who has that a very similar energy, like your spider senses start going off, right? So it's like in those environments, I wasn't really used to those environments. Like I'm used to my own environment. So when you get into an environment like that, you start gravitating toward the energy and what you can relate to. Right. And a lot of times that's how me and Rich started rocking out there in Santa Barbara. It was just an energy that we both had that I think at that point in time, he understood me as where I was coming from because he was coming from a very similar situation. I think that was a connection.
And the thing about it was, I personally never carried this thing of like, they can always just feel so comfortable around me because I just fit in as one of the guys. So it was a thing where it was like, I could have easily been from West Baltimore and it was just a seamless thing for us. And that's really, even with his guys, like that's how it was. It was a very seamless thing. It wasn't no real like separation. Even when I see him to this day, I was just at my daughter's graduation and somebody he's really close to was at his family's graduation. And when we seen each other, it was boom. Went to his graduation, spent the rest of the night watching games with his family. So it was just, we've always had that forever. We've always had that for the last 23 years. We've had that.
Damn, 2 decades, man. Listen, so this is a question for both of y'all. We're entering a new era in the league, man, in the NBA. How different is the journey for like the next wave, right? The Suns, right? The Kais, the Gil's Arenas kid, like the Boozer twins, Bronny and Bryce, Kmart Jr., GP.
I think
like is basketball now becoming, because you see it in baseball all the time. It's like, my dad played and he played and he played. Like, is it now becoming like a legacy sport where, it's handed down, like how you see in football, baseball, other sports?
Yeah, to answer your first question, I think it's a balance, right, between it's easier for these guys than it was for them. I think it's just based upon the platform and all the eyes that's on the sport, right? My dad is Carmelo Anthony, like, so he was a superstar in the NBA. He can teach me. What he was taught and what I'm being taught. He's expediting that journey in terms of attention to detail, what worked, what doesn't work, having an understanding of how to approach it. Right? You don't get to his level without. And he was one of the best scorers to ever play the game. I actually think, but then you take it a step further, they have an even bigger bag because they're so fearless and they're not being micromanaged to the level that they were, right? They were micromanaged. A lot of it was about the coach. A lot of it was about what happened before them. You had to play a certain way. And today's kids being allowed, in a lot of cases, being allowed to really play how they would love to play, or how the game takes them, which is something that I believe is a gift for them. The negative is he's Carmelo's son, right? So is there pressure to go to Syracuse? There shouldn't be. I know it's not coming from his parents. The negative side of it is, again, like, you can't expect Cayenne, if he chooses to go to Syracuse, to be who his dad was, right? And I think the tough part about social media and the tough part about people having a voice that you can't see, these anonymous critics and things like that, their expectation is not realistic. And, so I think sometimes it's better for them to, even if they want to walk in the same shoes as their dad, sometimes it might be better if they can go a different route, Or if they're willing to embrace it, I think from a parenting perspective, and I know Melo would probably handle it this way, he's going to get out in front of the fact that if his son does choose to go to Syracuse where he won a national championship as a freshman, yeah, but there was so many other layers to that. The coach he played for, the team he was on, the help he had, the run they made, it's one and done. So it's a lot of different things that took place.
Absolutely.
And so I just, with these kids, it is legacy, and it's good to see them coming in and make you kind of feel old knowing these kids before they were born and when they were born and watching them grow up.
Right.
But it's also a beautiful thing to see them, loving the game, to see them really loving the game and not, they had to play for money.
Right.
They had to play to get out.
We got to get out of here. Yeah.
Right. These kids today, his son, Bryce, Bronny, they don't. They're playing because they love the game. And that's what I think we should keep the focus on. And that's what's admirable, because you see a lot of our youth is crashing out today.
Right.
A lot of our youth, they don't care about life no more. They don't care about team and embracing something and really embracing the challenges of something ahead, especially when they got everything. They got everything. Cayenne got everything that we ever wanted as a kid. He's been more places than we could even think about going. And these kids, they think different today. And so that's the beauty of it for me. And even in my position, I haven't called Melo one time or lie about their son, because it ain't even about that. I'm just really enjoying seeing him flourish, and I'm not surprised the scorer he's become, but just, I just like to watch and see him grow the way they are. So it's pretty cool, actually.
Right. So there's a question for both of y'all, man. Like, there's multiple paths to the league, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a traditional college. Now there's the G League. What are y'all seeing in the landscape as far as like the better path to the NBA, or is that not a better path? Is it dependent on the athlete, the talent, the person?
What's the better path?
Like, what will deliver the most complete player to the league after that journey?
To me, I think, for me, what I've learned just in the past couple of years, going to a school or playing the most fundamental basketball you can play while you're young, having an understanding of how to play without the ball, being coached really hard, not being allowed to just do any and everything you want to do, which kids call getting in their bag today. Because when you get to the NBA, you have to start in a role. And a lot of guys that's talented and don't make it or don't last, it's not because they can't play in the NBA. And you wonder, and these guys don't understand. They be like, oh man, but I averaged 50 every time I got in, I scored. Yeah, but you're not starring in a role. So you can cook, right?
Right.
You can cook, but you can't collaborate, right? So you can cook, but you can't digest information. You can cook, but you're not willing to not be the focal point. And you don't understand when you take a step back from the league and look at, he's never had to be in that situation until he was at the end of his career. But he had so much confidence in himself, and his legacy was already cemented already. So when he came to that point in his career, he's now loving the game. And he went through a thing where me and him talked where he just wanted to be back in the league and do it his way. You talking about a guy who made all the money, all the all-star, did game winners, all of that, but his love for the game brought him to that space at that time.
Mm.
These guys, that's at the end of the road.
Mm-hmm.
He'd already had the pot of gold, the rainbow, everything. These guys aren't even on the road, and they're not getting opportunity because they don't understand how to start in a role. And it's the one thing that's sad, because all these high-ranked guys, they don't really last. But it's because of that more than anything, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think it's to your point, it starts with the development. Like, you're not being taught the game the right way no more at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go to these combines and these colleges and try to make the pros, as you start getting older and bigger and stronger, everybody else is doing the same thing, right? Somebody you may seen at 6'1" this year may come back 6'4" next year, and 6'7" 2 years after that. So when you get to that level, to your point as a role player, and I can attest to this because I had to, at the end, to your point, be at peace with that. I had to be away from the game in order for me to appreciate, okay, you know what? I'm going to be at peace. I'm going to do it my way. I want to have fun. I want to enjoy the game. But I'm going to accept my role. And I had to take off the ego hat and the pride hat of just like, you know what? I'm going to be cool with averaging 13 because that's my role. Right? I can't look at it like, oh, I'm averaging 13, I'm averaging 15, and comparing that to where I was at in New York, averaging 28, 29.
Right.
Because of the fact that I had to accept my role. So if I'm doing that in my role, I feel like I'm having a very successful year. And that's something that mentally that I had to really not play the game, but really accept that and understand, like, damn, in order for me to really have fun with this game, I gotta accept this role for me, right? And I don't think kids have an opportunity from a young age to understand what playing a role is, because you're taught roll the ball out and go play. You got the best handles, you're the best player at that age. Until you meet somebody that's the best player at that age and realize you ain't developed the right way. And that's the problem, that when they get to the pros, and even college, even some colleges, when they get to that level, they lost. Yeah. They struggle the first year. Then they confidence is low. Then they gotta get in the transfer portal because you're not putting the work in.
Yeah,
you ain't understanding.
One thing you just said, Melo, people don't understand how you embrace it at the end of your career is really 95% of our league's actual careers.
Absolutely.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So, it's tough, but that's the truth.
Have you ever had to have that conversation with an athlete like you present, where it's just like, hey, bro, listen, you might have been the guy at whatever academy, but right here, you just need to get.
I've had it at the beginning. I've also had it at the end, and the other issue is, a lot of these guys are surrounded by a lot of people that really don't have the right information. And, good, right, or indifferent, whatever it is, still you have to be able to, if you're around these guys, you have to be able to really check yourself and realize that I can't just say certain things, because they're searching. They're searching for the words that they want to hear. They're not really searching for the right words. They're searching for, no different than a little kid going to you and you say, Dad, can I get, no. Mom, can I, no. When they get to grandma, she say, yeah. Y'all both said no, and then she said, yeah, that's who I'm going with. It's the same thing in our industry a lot of times. And I don't want to be a person that people say, oh, well, man, like, you don't want me to listen to my dudes or my families. No, it's not that. It's just that what I'm telling you is what I know is coming right from the horse's mouth, right to you, because we're all in this together trying to help you better position yourself. They're seeing it from a perspective of most people that have an athlete that they're connected to, they only live in that athlete's world, and that's the only world they have to care about. And so you only seeing it out of one lens. If this person don't get in the game, if this person don't get a lot of shots, etc., you're only seeing it out of that one lens. Why they not getting this right now? Well, I'm looking at it holistically, and I can only give it to you from a real place of education at the highest level, not because it's something that you want to hear or not because I'm trying to bamboozle you. I'm really trying to help. And that's a tough balancing act as for somebody in my position. Right. So, but that's the role I have to play, and it's okay.
You gotta do it, man. Sometimes you gotta be the bad guy.
Gotta be it.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta do the hard
you gotta be it, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yo, Rich, we got a segment on the show called the 7 p.m. moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's a moment in Rich's life, you know what I mean, when you came to a fork in the road, a pivotal moment, and when you had to go this way or this way, and no matter where you went, that was gonna greatly impact the outlook on your life.
I've been there a couple times, you know. I've had several 7 p.m. moments, but I think the one I'll talk about really quickly on this show is, you know, I had a fork in the road, and if I was going to really go with my gut and start Klutch, you know, no one thought it would be what it's become today. No one really pictured me ever doing that, right? And it's not no one to blame. It's just that when you come from the environments that we come from and you're in and you have a job, just a job, you gotta remember for us, the bar is set so low. So having a job to everybody else was like, man, you know, but at the same time, I'm looking at this thing a lot different. And if I wait a day later, a year later, 2 years later, you know, I miss my moment, you know, because everything in life is based upon timing. And I had to believe in that. And you know what? If it didn't work, I was okay with the so-called fire that was blazing behind me because I'm like, fuck it, burn the house down in that case. Because I believed in myself just that much. There would be no Klutch Sports Group if I didn't believe in me, right? First and foremost.
Right.
And so that was my 7 p.m. moment, and I'm glad I did it. Yeah.
And you never look back.
Nah.
I gotta, you know, not different, but like, I have to say this. We always have a peace guard moment on here.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a time where we've had conversations, like real conversations, like sit down as men and like creative conversations. And it was a point in time where I saw Rich, and you probably don't even know this, but I saw you at one point in time when you had already started Klutch. And I'm peeping you, I'm seeing your aura, I'm just seeing you look at this time like, damn, this was like a heavy load on you. And I'm like, people don't understand what that means. Like that stress, whatever I was seeing on him, people don't understand what that is. And I say that because the fact that he was able and deliberately and intentional saying that this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start this shit no matter. I'm going up against juggernauts. Like, I'm going up against the big boys, like the ones that make the decisions in this industry, who is trying to keep him there. So the honorable thing of him fighting and fighting and fighting, also knowing the machine that he got over here with Bron and that and the whole LRMR, right? That's a whole nother energy. But the path that he was carving out, I don't think people was ready for that. I think it, not blindsided, but I think the energy towards that was like, nah, he can't. Not him. How can he do this? And for me, it was like being able to support that in the way that I can support that from my seat and my situation. So it was very interesting to see those times and to see where he was at that point in time, understanding where he come from. And the energy that you was receiving at that time. Like, for me, it was very honorable to see. We talk about careers and journeys. Like, that's a journey.
Right.
I can imagine the amount of meetings he had behind closed doors where doors probably was shut on him. Like, nigga, we not fucking with you on
man.
this. Like,
yeah.
Like, this wasn't planned out for him. Like,
right.
He was disruptive in the industry in a sense. They not having that shit in it. Like, these are staples of this industry.
It was like the audacity, the entitlement. I mean, the lies that's told behind why I left and what I did, and he know the truth.
Yeah,
he know the
fact.
truth.
That's a fact.
He was there in real time. We talked about it. And the fact that it still bothers people to this day, you know, building a business with both arms behind your back is tough, you know?
Right.
And I think that, you know, the people on the internet that talks about, oh, well, what you wouldn't be without LeBron and blah, blah, blah. And I welcome that because everyone has to be given an opportunity, but it's what you do with that opportunity, right?
Facts.
Everybody can say that, right?
A lot of people met Bron.
99% of the people that's successful can talk about that, right? But in addition to that, like he's saying, you're talking about the layers of our industry in which people don't get to see.
Mm-hmm.
That's behind the scenes trying to make things go a certain way.
Talk about it, man. Because
it's out of spite. But but the thing about it is, it's out of spite. It's not because it affects their livelihood to the point to where they're not going to be able to feed their family. It's strictly out of spite.
Oh, like this.
And when you talk about the dangers of this, and you know what it made me do? It made me look at people close to me, or I thought was close to me, in a different way. We had a real conversation. And I respected it. And it caused me to look at people a different way. And the conversations that people was having with me, it was like, oh yeah, man, you know, I would, but and I'm like, okay, I get it. I didn't understand it at the time. I understand it more today.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually some things that's molded me. And look, you know, like, what defines success, right? What makes you successful? I think going through all that was something that was just going to be part of my journey. And then now, when you look at just the opportunity ahead, is what I really focus on, right? Those stories are part of the journey and part of the legacy, but really the fortune is still up ahead, and being able to really give opportunities to other people and see them grow and empower and those things. And now we eye to eye, you know?
Right.
And that's the beauty of it. Like, you don't have to, one thing about life, man, it's going life. Life is going life.
Life be lifing.
Yeah. It's going life.
It do. It sure do.
And you don't have to I wasn't as spiteful to those as they were to me.
Right.
And I look at my partners today, my partners at UTA, United Talent Agency today, and I see an appreciation from them, right? And it's a beautiful thing, and there's so much opportunity up ahead that we plan on taking advantage of, and being a part of team, but also having your responsibility of, quote unquote, being a star player in your role as well, right? And there's a responsibility and an accountability that comes with that, and I understand that. But it was tough, man. It was tough, but what in life worth having ain't tough.
Yeah.
So that's just where we are.
So a lot of people associate you with Bron.
Yeah,
like
they should.
Eric Bledsoe. That's not a name that get thrown around there.
No, but it's a very important one.
We be saying some names.
No,
on here.
I'm about to say, that's a name you pull out like, yo, shooting guys.
Yeah, but like, this is like, because I know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how important Bledsoe was to you?
Bled was extremely important to me. One, because he just believed. You know, prior to Bled, people forget Johnny Flynn first. Then was Bled. And the thing why I was able to see it all the way through with Bled. I was just with him the other night. I was able to see it all the way through, from a kid who didn't know if he was even a pro, to being in his wedding, to seeing him now with his family and
the journey,
saving his money and the whole nine. You know, Bled was just as important as anybody. And again, the simple-minded people, oh, he said he was more important. No, that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
He was just as important as anybody, because you don't get here by yourself.
Right.
and there's opportunities that are given. Like when you talk about the opportunity that was given by LJ, then you should also talk about the opportunity that was given by Eric Bledsoe. And now that list is 500 plus clients with opportunity. I'm just at a different point in my life where these opportunities are coming about, but I still don't take them for granted and I still appreciate them all, right? But in this case, what you're talking about, Eric Bledsoe trusted me to the point to where he allowed me to really, and us as a company, to come through for him.
Yeah.
And when we came through for Eric, it was like, that was the arriving moment.
I started.
Yeah.
They got Bledsoe.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because he wasn't looked at as a guy like that. And when he got the money he got, and it was also how he got it and the time frame, you know, being out and all those different things. And he was injured and came back and still got paid. And so it was a big deal. Big deal. Yeah.
No, it's names that I like to throw on here, but like when it's a connection with a player like that.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
That's somebody
just
that
as big as anyone.
Would love to just kind of shine light on. Like that's a major situation.
Yo, NBA tip-off is around the corner, and you have a chance to win big on FanDuel. It's America's #1 sports book. Melo, Champ, I got a couple of preseason questions that I need your selections on because you are the expert. You know what I'm saying? As we get closer to the season starting.
Okay.
First up, who will have a higher win total? The San Antonio Spurs or the Orlando Magic?
I think Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic is a real playoff team, though. They can be like a top 4.
Legit.
Like top 4 in the East. Top 4 or 5 in the East.
That's some offseason.
That's a real playoff, consistent 40-something plus wins. But for San Antonio to win
50 games in the West,
22 games to go from 22 to 45 to 40 to 35, Orlando's already there.
Orlando, you got it. You know what I'm saying? Lock that in. You know what I'm saying? The experts' projections. You know what I mean? Next projection. Does Wemby average more than 5 blocks per game this year?
That's OD, though.
5. They
get crazy, but 5 blocks is crazy. Average for 82 games, 5 blocks is insane.
Nah. Who's done that before?
I'm not. No. Fuck out of here. No, I just don't. You know how hard it is to block shots? I mean, 2 shots a game is hard to do. To average 1 block shot a game is hard as fuck. 5 is
nuts.
Like,
bro,
damn,
come on.
nah.
That's video game shit.
Yeah, nah.
Oh, man. All right, man. Even though this guy's him, you know what I mean? You don't need to be an expert on every team to get in on the action.
The FanDuel app is easy to use with a wide range of betting options, spreads, player props, over-unders, and get your winners paid fast.
And if you're new to FanDuel, get started with $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed, when you place your first $5 bet.
So visit FanDuel.com/7PM to make every moment more this season. Now back to the show.
We got the Peace God in the building, you know what I'm saying? Formerly rep by Leon Rose, you know what I'm saying, who Rich you worked with, you know what I mean, in the past. There was rumors that Klutch and the Knicks don't work with each other. But y'all hashed things out earlier this year. What was that conversation
y'all slid
like?
This question in there.
How, you know what I mean?
I don't mind the smoke, man.
That's
not.
But that ain't no smoke.
That ain't no smoke.
No, that ain't no smoke.
That's not. Also, we can't smoke because we just had a gas leak. We had a fire drill at this motherfucker. So there's no smoke.
No, that's look, people have their alliances, right? Mm-hmm. And that's fine. It happens in our league. And media picks up on certain things based upon certain things in there. And there was, they know me well and they know how I'm going to handle my business. And we had a conversation and it was clear. And he understood. And he was like, I can totally see where you coming from. But, the industry know what's up. Mm-hmm. And it's just part of it, right? It started with you. You can blame him, by the way. He started the whole thing. It started the whole Knicks thing. Listen, man.
He started the rumor?
Everybody is in position because this guy right here, the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? And it's a beautiful thing. It is, right? And the way this thing works is talent always have options.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
If I have the right player and the Knicks got the right money
Yeah.
and he wants to be there, he'll be a Knick.
Yeah.
It's just as simple as that,
Right.
right? But that don't stop the alliances from running around with the tabloids and with the negative nonsense. But again, I'm so far above that. This is just 1/18 of what I really do and love to do. I'm so far above that, you know. When I go to a Knick game, my office hit Leon's office, and it's all good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nothing but access, nothing but support.
So we're gonna see you Celebrity Row, you know what I'm saying?
I'm not a celebrity, you know but I'm always on the row.
I'm on the row.
He said, I ain't famous. But the famous people, all the famous people know
I'm
me.
on the row, but I ain't no celebrity though.
So last season,
I know one thing: them Knicks tickets was high as hell for that Sixers series.
For that
Sixers
boy,
series,
them shit was high to me on a Saturday night.
for sure.
Crazy.
We might have to do live check-ins this year, champ.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to go to them games.
Yo, facts. It's coming, yo. You know what I'm saying? Get ready. So listen, last season, there was a report, there's a bombshell report out here, that the Warriors had interest in trading LeBron. Dre.
We got to stop, guys. Come on, man.
According to Dre, Rich said, nah, this ain't going. How has the partnership with Bron evolved, man, since 2012? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's, you know, you grow with each other and, you know, things.
First of all, I'm not.
We thought we was about to hit you with some other shit.
No, I'm not even paying attention to that first.
He said the first one, you had me in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even paying attention to that. But
so
no,
it's baseless. Like Rick Ross, accusations, like Rick Ross said, accusations.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to even have that conversation. But anyway, no, the partnership, look, we've all grown as men. We was kids, right? And we've grown, and I'm always a firm believer in Melo because I hit him. I hit Melo out the blue sometimes to give him shit to think about. He'd be like, "Damn, you really fucked me up with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why you know what I'm saying?" But for me, I love seeing that with these guys, right? And I told them 20 years ago, I'm like, man, we can't let the industry do what I know they like to do to us, right? That shit is corny. No beef in sports amongst millionaires playing a game they love to play. That shit is corny. It's all to be able to make you believe that their value is more than it actually is. And so we're going to drive a wedge amongst competition so you guys don't communicate. So then that way you don't collaborate and then you don't compound together for their benefit. How many times are they going to play that game?
We've seen them.
It's a cycle.
At this point, they should sell it at Walmart along with all the other games.
With Life Monopoly
and all the
Scrabble
other
shit.
You get what I'm saying? And so, but our relationship has evolved a ton from someone who gave me an opportunity just in general to someone who believed that I actually could represent them. I didn't start representing them to his ninth year in the league, both of their ninth years in the league, to business partner, to support, he's supported me in everything I do, right? And think about it, I've gone against the grain in certain things, right? But the support is still there because he knows the entrepreneur at heart. He do too, right? We talk about more than just shits and giggles, like we really get into real business conversation. And they'll throw something on me to the point that they'll say, Rich, what you think about this? That don't really happen, right? Especially somebody that came up how I came up. But they trust me and they trust my business acumen and they trust that I'm also going to give them the real. Right. No matter what. If it's got to be the hard conversation, it's going to be the hard conversation, et cetera. So that's a beautiful thing. And it's just a beautiful thing, man. Like when I'm able to, I can roll with Melo all day, right? We can hop in, dinners, whatever. And there's no like weird energy.
Right.
You just rolling. Yeah. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just, and with LJ, you know, we brothers, you know, like we don't have the same moms, but we might as well at this point. And again, you know, he don't, sometimes you can get in that situation and people like try to tell you like, or try to show you that you should be thankful for the opportunity that was given by shortchanging you for your added value, you know, for your expertise. We don't play those games with each other, right? And so again, all we've ever tried to do was lead by example, and we'll continue to do that. The people that pick up, they pick up. Those that don't, they get left behind. That's just how it works.
That's a great, you know, kind of throughway to our new segment. We got a new segment called The Temple. That's more our masterclass.
You know what I mean? Perfect example is champ on set, you know what I'm saying? Got lessons from the GOAT himself. Pass that generationally down to Kai, you know what I mean? Like, what is the teachings, you know what I mean, that Rich Paul got?
The Mr. Miyagi moment.
Right, you know what I mean? Like,
in my professional or in life, a lot of my teachings,
because if it's a jewel, drop it.
A lot of my teachings came, obviously, from my dad, and I talk about it a lot in my book, Lucky Me, but also from my community, my siblings, and then, you know, there was visuals, there was experiences, and then there was lessons, right? And sometimes the lessons was taught through experience, and you had to learn from that, right? And so that stove is hot. Touch it anyway. Get burnt. Don't touch it. You get what I'm saying?
Right,
Things like
you
that.
know.
And in business, I think it was just through trial and error, man. Like, I mean, you know, I've said this, and I'll continue to say it, and it's really unfortunate, but I didn't really have a lot of supporters, right? And it wasn't like somebody came and was like, man, let me sit you down and show you, tell you.
I'm going to stop you right there. Saying you didn't have a lot of supporters is an understatement, brother. You had a lot of detractors.
Yeah,
when you was coming in the game.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, 100%.
The whole, you got to have a bachelor's degree to be an agent. I
was the right one for that, because my life had already prepared me for where I was going anyway. So when I got there, I was just like, that's cool, you know, let's bump. I'm ready for that. And it was even better at that point, because now I can really see him, right? I know it's 300 at this point, and I'm all, and the dents is already I'm already battle tested in a whole nother world.
Right.
So now when I get here, you know, I'm looking at the rise and the cotton candy, so to speak, you know, because I didn't already come through the fire already. But what I said to myself, once I get on the other side of this, I can't be that person. So whether we're in competition or whether you're just walking up to me on the street, I give my time, because you just never know how it affects somebody, especially in this industry, because there's few of us, and especially in terms of the journey that you take, right? No higher education, nobody really in a career decision-making position that could do X, Y, Z for you. But it was a beautiful thing. You know, trial and error has always been a thing for me, feeling your way through. And that's kind of the best way to learn the game too, right? You got to be able to play with pace. You got to be able to feel your way through. Look, in our industry, there's a lot of people representing, don't know our game. They can't tell you one thing about our game, right? They got a checkbook, they got a marketing advance, and they got a yes. They can't tell you anything about the game. There's a lot of representation without being good at anything that cool, culture, the sport, knowing it, relatability. Like, it's just so many different things, but yet and still we skip over that. And I'm not saying you had to play. I didn't play the pros, but if you sit down with me and we talk the game of basketball with any of these guys, Hall of Famers, they know Rich know what he's talking about. Like, we can really talk the game. And when I saw that and I stepped back and I'm like, wow, no knock, right? But you got to remember, when the industry first started, it was you had to be a lawyer. So now that took away the expertise as it pertained to the sport. and you're talking about having a certain credential.
Yeah.
Well, that was all a lie to begin with. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so now I'm basically, I'm really unveiling all these different things. I'm regurgitating the game, and that's the danger of it. That's the danger of it. And now you see, the representation space and the landscape changing. There's more people than ever, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Now, what we have to do is we got to settle in, and then we got to unclog some of the pipes and really, really clean out the closet. Because sometimes you can have stuff laying around that you don't really need. We got to clean out the closet a little bit. It's enough room for everybody that's serious about this industry. I know I'm not going to represent every player. It's enough room for all of us. But we got to clean out the closet. We got to help parents close their ears a little bit to any and everybody that can talk to them, because you're looking for something that's not out there. This process thing. There's only 3-4 people to go through a process with. It ain't 30, I can guarantee you that. You know what I'm saying? And I won't talk about the process now with Melo, but we're gonna get there in private. You feel me?
The process of elimination.
Because I know what they thinking, and I'm saying like, yeah, you can think that. That's cool. If it ain't Bay the only one I'm giving a pass to. Yeah. Cause that's my man. If it ain't Bay, nah.
Say no more.
Yeah.
Nah. Say no more.
So listen, man. We got Rich in the building. This is the season finale, yo. You know what I'm saying? Lucky us, you know what I'm saying? So, Rich, we got a segment on the show called Fucking With It or Fuck Out of Here, where we give you a question about what's going on in pop culture, sports, music, whatever it is, and you tell us if you fucking with it or if it's a fuck out of here. Rich Paul does not approve. You know what I'm saying? So the fuck with it or fuck out of here, the question is, Summer League in Vegas will overtake NBA All-Star Weekend in importance and popularity. Is that a fucking with it or fuck out of here?
Nah. Fuck out of here. That ain't happening. That ain't happening. But I want to ask Melo something. Ownership for an athlete in sports. How do you feel about that? Because I feel a certain way about it, but I want to know how you feel about it.
Meaning what? And what aspect?
Athletes aspiring to be, aspiring to be owners, right? How do you feel? I think they can now invest in teams and situations like that. How do you feel about that?
I'm for it. I'm for athletes and ownership. I think there's not enough of us in those seats. I think there's not enough of us in those boardrooms making the decisions and basketball decisions and being able to sit at the table and not just write a check and tell somebody else go run it. Right. I think that needs to be a line from top to bottom. But overall, I do believe that there should be a lot more of us in those positions. I do think it's a lot of times we don't give ourselves credit enough, like to go put our own group together. And
but you're saying not so much to own the team, but to be in the positions to make decisions while being part.
See,
because people look at a team like you want to own a team to flip it and make a lot of money.
This is not that type of game to flip.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. It's levels to this. It's
well,
teams,
when you see the
people.
things being sold, is what I'm saying. Because see, for me,
I want in.
Right.
I want in.
Yeah, and that's fair. But for me, it's a double-edged sword, right? I would rather them be able to have access to the deal flow of the groups that's buying these teams and be able to invest alongside of the governors, the owners of these teams.
Yes.
In addition to being able to own teams, because owning the team today, is again, you say, we'll talk about owning the team. Well, am I owning the team in 96?
Yeah.
Or am I owning the team in 2026?
Yeah.
Because 96, there's upside. 2026,
it's small
if you
upside.
take away the ego of the athlete wanting to have ownership, and don't get me wrong, if you grow up and you play this professional sport and you get to the place where you can have ownership in the team, that's a beautiful thing.
I think it only makes sense for, like, honestly, I think there's.
But it's at a premium today.
Yes,
and I think that's
today.
where people have to understand, like, yes,
The value.
but it's at a premium. So if you're a part of an ownership group, yes, but you have a position within the team that you're being paid and you can make decisions.
I just don't think that, like, to that point, and the ownership, we could wrap it up after this, but I just don't think that there's honestly enough of us who can say we can go own a team and run a team.
Well, in terms of having the actual funds, no.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is, still being able to be a part of that, I think is great. But it's a double-edged sword.
I would prefer to be a part of a team.
But would you prefer to be a part of the deal flow?
1,000, a million%.
That's all I'm saying. Okay,
1,000,
done.
a million%.
I just want to get that point across. Let's get it straight.
Yeah, we want ownership. But if I'm part of this flow of
that's
opportunities,
what you want first and foremost,
access
before the ownership.
Access.
Yeah, you want access to that deal.
Now, most people would say they want ownership. Yeah. I don't want to own a whole team. Like, I want to go. Let's get a group because I want to go own another team. Like,
you want to have a roll up of teams.
I need an ecosystem of all of this, and maybe some people are not actually thinking that way.
So next one, there hasn't been a repeat NBA champ since the 2018 Golden State Warriors. Shout out to them. Now, there could be a lot of reasons for this. Parity across the league could be one. Injuries could be another. But it seems more and more franchises are finding it harder to keep their teams together. Those contracts are only going up. It says, thanks to you, I ain't write that. But you all getting motherfuckers paid, man, which is a great thing. So fuck with it or fuck out of here. The next CBA will remove strict salary cap penalties in order to bring back super teams.
Woo! Fuck with it or fuck out of here.
I'm actually with that. But let me say with it.
Right.
I don't know if it'll actually happen, but I do think there will have to be. We're all in the learning moment here with this new CBA and the penalties and et cetera. People are still trying to get their bearings with it in terms of teams. When you talk to teams, they're still trying to figure a lot of it out. But I'll say this. Drafting properly matters. Development amongst team matters. When you talk about super team, I think people get that confused with names on the back of a jersey versus actual super team. The repeat aspect of it is hard, yes, but that just goes to the talent level in today's league, right? You're talking about people going 8, 9 deep of guys that can really play. Look at some teams now. I think OKC had a good summer. Orlando had a good summer, adding a guy like KCP to that young core that they have. Yep. You know Boston's going to be there. Minnesota's going to be there. You can't count out the Mavericks who added Clay. You can't count out certain teams. I think DeMar going to Sacramento, depending if they can get that right with him, De'Aaron and Sabonis, like that balance, right? I think Mike Brown can figure that out. Sixers adding PG. It's the league.
Yeah.
And I think when you talk about how hard it is to repeat, forget repeating, how hard it is just to get back to the finals. You don't even have to repeat, just getting back there. But at the same time, you're going to see the half and half nots, which is what we're seeing. It's going to be extremely difficult. You know how you could just like a guy get a max deal and then in his mind, he automatically thinks he get another max deal.
Yeah.
Well, that's not going to be true. In addition to, and this always happens a lot more than anything, when a person goes top 5 in the draft, that very next day in their mind and people around them, you're a max player. Yeah. And that's also not true. And we have to quit misleading these young men to think that. And by the way, there's also situations where, again, you are potentially a max player, but what are you willing to stand in the rain to make sure you get that? Because you coming off of 48, 58, $60 million a year is one thing. Coming off of 8 and trying to get to a max is that's like driving level from here to Africa. Like it's too, and you can't even drive to Africa. But it's you got
to build a bridge. You got to do some extra shit.
But that's what I'm saying. It's just, and so I think being better educated and being more realistic. Like again, it takes a village, and the village you put around you have to educate you. They have to know when to get out the way, and then you have to be willing and open-minded enough to understand your position and capitalize on that. It's called career earnings for a reason.
Mm.
It's not called how many comments and likes I'm gonna get on Instagram earnings. It's not called, you know.
That's a fact.
Let me be lit earnings. It's not called let me look as if or let
My
you
lit
know,
index is
yeah,
up.
I want to come
The
across
lit
the
earnings is
ESPN
crazy.
index so I can then go like, what are you gonna buy? 2 Urises at one time? Like, what are we doing? What are we talking about?
Right.
You know, so let that thing, and by the way, if you diversify your portfolio, let it compound, really surround yourself with the right infrastructure, et cetera. If you do these things, somebody may have got a max and you may have got like just middle of the road but you're doing like this.
Yeah, they doing.
And their spending habits, you know, the dependence they have and so many different things, they're going backwards. When you get to the end of that road, you got everything and they barely hanging on. That's the decision making in life. That's why it's so important. So
This is a big episode, personally, because this was something that we needed. Right? I think the people needed. I think they needed to see this connection, because I think a lot of times in your situation and in my situation, we were all automatically put to go against each other. Teams. It was the nature of what it was.
Yeah. But that was never us.
No, I ain't. Come on, champ. You know that. I'm about to give you your flowers. What I'm saying is you personally made it that way with like we coming in and we disrupting this game. Y'all niggas ain't supposed to be cool because of the history of this cycle. You drove the wedge into that game and opened the door to the possibilities of, yo, this is, nigga, y'all a brotherhood. So as a man, I want to say thank you. I appreciate you. And you don't get enough flowers for that. And a lot of times we can try to come up with different words and sayings, but thank you, my nigga. Appreciate that.
That's a fact. Yo, Rich, man, thank you for closing out the season right.
Before we wrap, I just want to say thank everyone for an incredible season 1. Shout out our favorite guests, Method Man, D-Wade, Sue Bird, Rudy Gay, everybody, Kiss, Common, so on and so forth. Thank you, Rich. Tell folks we'll be back in November, and we appreciate you guys.
Rich Paul in the building, man. 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. Season 1 is a wrap. Season 2, we coming in hot. You know what I mean? We'll be back in November before the turkey get cold. You heard? You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Rich Paul. Shout out to everybody, the 7 p.m. fam. Keep running them numbers up. You know what I mean? And we will be right back, y'all.
Peace.